Okay, so welcome to Transition Time Part 3. So this is class number 3. There are 2 parts to this one because it's so big. So we're going to get to as much as we can today. And every single time that we have class, remember that we're going to do a little bit kind of might challenge your thinking and a lot of it practical. Excuse me. Okay. So there were some handouts that you can find on the website. So I'm going to open up my PowerPoint. So let me share my screen. All righty. Here it, oh, that's the wrong one. I opened up the wrong PowerPoint. Let me get the right one. There we go. Okay. So let me show you on the screen, there was the ability to download some worksheets. You don't need them for today. If you want to, you can get in and download them, but you won't need them. So don't stress about it. It's all good. They're there for you to use afterwards because the activities that we're going to do with them, you're going to want to do time and time again until you get the process. All right, and so they're there for you afterwards. So let me pull this up. The handouts that are there on the make a note if you need to. On the Facebook page, you're going to see Wonders of Why for needs and behaviors. Okay, there are 2 different ones. There's also Finding Your Compassion and then Letters of Forgiveness. All right, so you're going to want to eventually print those or at least save them for yourself because as I said, these are things you're going to want to do time and again. Okay, so let's see. Oh, Michelle, thank you. She said, I'm so grateful that you, for all that you are providing. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. And lots of hellos. So make sure if you just logged in to scroll down at the bottom of the screen, you can get into chat and then you'll be able to see everybody's messages. For those of you watching the video, you won't see our chat. We don't record that, and I don't record other people unless they unmute and speak and they're on video. That's the only way you're going to get recorded. So everybody on right now, you are going to be recorded unless you chat, that is not recorded, or unless if you unmute, you will be recorded. So please know that. Okay, let's get started. So exciting. All righty. So let me pull my chat up so that I have it handy. All righty, and let me move this up here. Good. So let's talk about today. In classes 1 and 2, so class 1 was the purpose of life. Class 2 was human conditioning. Our whole thing was we needed to understand a little bit about what this life is about. Like, what are we doing here? We needed to understand our personal human conditioning. We needed to really start to uncover how you have been humanly conditioned. You have been all your life. You just didn't realize it, okay? So the other thing it's important to understand, you've got to start to analyze how the conditioning that you've received through your childhood, your upbringing, through all of your experiences, all of your hard things you've gone through, all the good things that you've gone through, all of that has conditioned you and it drives you mostly subconsciously. So it's about really learning about that. We also started last class to look at how that drives you emotionally. What kind of reactionary behaviors come out of that? What kind of personal needs come out of that? What kind of coping mechanisms come out of that? So if you have not watched class 1 and 2, go back and do that. Okay, today we're going to talk about learning why. Why do you have the reactionary needs that you do? Why do you have the behaviors that you do? What the heck? Why do you cope in the way that you do? And so we're going to really dig deep into understanding the whys. But to get there, I also have to teach you how to understand how to observe yourself more. I cannot say this again, people. You learning to observe yourself is critical. You have to see what you're doing. And I said this the first class, but I'm going to say it again. I remember the very first time that I recalled or just remembered or realized, that's the word I was looking for, that I needed to be right all the time. And that I would always promote my achievements to everyone who would listen because I was so insecure. And if I promoted my rightness or promoted that all the good things that I did, then I had some worth and I had some value. It never gave me worth and value. I remember one person even saying to me, "Why do you always have to tell us about everything you do?" Well, that would be because I'm insecure. Okay, so that's the kind of things that happens. You've got to observe yourself and speak your own truth so that you can move beyond what is programmed inside of you. Nobody, and I really mean this, nobody needs to be stuck with hard emotions, guilt, shame, fear, feeling like life is out of your control, feeling like you're not good enough, feeling like you're not empowered, any of those things, depressed. You don't have to feel any of them. As I said before, you stick with these classes, you'll feel better, okay? We're also gonna learn today how to start to let go of all that pain. There's a process to it. We're in the beginning of the process, the very beginning, okay? Now, it took me a long, long time, everybody, to get past my stuff because nobody was teaching me. My guides were teaching me. So I learned all this ahead of time in my own pain, in my own wounding, in my own insecurity and self-doubt so that you don't have to take so long. So let's get in and let's learn a little bit more again about how do we let all this go. So last time we talked about Earth School. Yeah, you're in Earth School. We asked why? Why did we have to come here? Why did we have to do this? What's the point? I get so many people say this, like, why? What are we, why? What is the whole point of this? Okay. If you need to really understand the purpose of life, go back and watch part 1. If you need to understand the bigger purpose of your soul, look at part 2. I'm going to tell you today, we're going to talk about how you're going through healing and growth and all these experiences because you cannot become unconditional love until you have been conditioned. All right. So what you're doing in all of this is that you're working through all of this conditioning so that you can find authentic self-love and you can actually be happy and peaceful and joyous in this life. And even when things are hard, it's not easy being in Italy. You're going to hear some other hard experiences I had today. All right. They're not easy. But you know what? You can get through it going, oh, that happened. Yeah, that's happening. It kind of sucks, but all right. You can do it. This is also to really get you as a soul, or if you need to look at it this way, as a human, to understand that love is not something you give and receive. It's not an action, people. It is a state of being. It is a state of being in unconditional love internally, which allows you then to be in a state of unconditional love externally. When you're in a state of love externally, what happens is that you don't want to treat anyone poorly. You don't trigger, you don't react, you don't have all these personal needs that come out very often. I mean, sometimes they do, because you don't get rid of the ego, you just tame it. And what happens is that you want to treat the earth better. You don't need physical things to make you happy. You just need to be happy in here. Everything else comes out great. And it doesn't mean you're not going to have nice things. It doesn't mean that you don't want money. It just means that money doesn't drive you because you're happy here. So I also talked about in the first 2 classes that we are moving into an experience to live with a tamed ego. Our planet, or our humanity on this earth, is moving from a grade 3 experience that is indulging the ego, all the pain and all the competition, all the comparing yourself to others and all the needing all your material stuff, all needing your identity for your worth and value, all that's leaving. Over the next 50 years, okay, this planet's going to be changing, and it's significant right now. I'm going to say this. the virus that's going on and all of this seclusion, it is giving you a taste of what grade 4 is going to start to be like, is opening your eyes to treating our earth better, opening your eyes to working from home, opening your eyes to what happens when we don't travel around as much. Okay? So grade 4 is driven by unconditional love, not fear. It is competition and collaboration, not competition. That was pretty funny. It is getting rid of that whole need to be important in the eyes of other people and just loving who you are. There is no importance. You know that when you start to tame who you are, tame that ego and love who you are, you actually look at life through the eyes of an innocent child again. You end up, I'm sorry to say this, but you end up with like a 12-year-old mentality again. You reclaim your innocence and your joy because you don't care if you're important for anyone else. I learned that when I was working at the state level in education. And my boss was like, Mr. Serious. And my other boss, she was like, everything was very, by the book. This is the state level, And I would come up with them and I'd be like, hey, have your peeps call my peeps for a meeting and we'll get together. And they're like, what are you doing? And eventually they figured out that I'm really good at my job. I'm really smart. And you know what? I don't care what you think of me. And then they started playing with me. Let people play with you. Let people realize that you don't take yourself so seriously, so they can actually let down their guard and be around you in a beautiful way. Yeah, that's what we're moving to. We're going to reclaim our innocence. We're going to treat the animals well. We're going to treat each other well. We're going to treat the planet well. We're going to get into free energy. We're going to be more into holistic, natural healing and healthy foods. And we're not going to put profit before people, the animals, and the planet. Yeah, that's right. So last time, we also talked about the emotional states of being. And we looked at this chart here. It's a little blurry. I don't know why. But we talked about where you are emotionally. What drives you on the very left-hand side? Those are drivers. Are you driven by fear so that you get into guilt or shame or hopelessness or sadness or needing to be like this or you're not okay? Or are you completely being driven by the ego with anger and pride? And actually anger is good because it helps you find some self-love to say, I didn't deserve that. Okay. So what about this? Maybe you can move into crossing that critical line into saying, I need to learn to love myself. And that is what these classes are for. And eventually you'll get into the place where you can get into seeing that you're opening your eyes to your own divinity. Sharing is paused. Bring your shared window to the front. I don't know what that means. Can anybody else see this? Can't see the chart. Okay. Yeah, it's saying, let me stop the share. I don't really understand what this means. It's saying that I need to move my share to the front. This is again, I love that. Okay, let's see if this works. I love that they love improving, right? That Zoom is improving things, but it's really been hard. All right, let's see if this is working now. Let's see. It worked. Yay! You are now seeing the chart. Okay, so I also talked about opening up into your divinity eventually, where you get into accepting that you're a beautiful person. You're going to get into being in your pure wisdom instead of chatta. And then eventually you're going to move into pure love. Yeah, you will. And I will tell you guys, I remember the day that I moved into love because I did some big healing, which you're going to start to learn about. And what happened is all of a sudden I was like, oh, I didn't know you could feel like this. I didn't know that life could be like this. And what happened is that I was like, love. And then eventually I was like, oh, good God, girl, you're making me sick. Will you just ground for a little bit? Okay. Come back to earth. Yeah, you found love in yourself. Now come back to earth and let's walk with a little groundedness. Yeah, because it feels pretty amazing. So I talked about last time the height of my insecurity. This is me 12 years ago. And don't talk about how much I've aged because we don't want to hear about it. But in that place, I thought I was a bad person. I thought I was a worthless person. I thought I was sick and I thought I was broken. Okay. And I realized if I didn't face all of what was inside of me, I'd be the same way the rest of my life. So, what I told you last time, this is where we have to deconstruct ourselves. We deconstruct, why do I have the emotions that I do? Why did I think I was a bad person? What kind of behaviors we have? Why am I so insecure? Right? I had to look at that, and I was terribly insecure at that time. You have to look at all of these things inside of you, because once you do, they're not in the background operating you anymore. Now, last time we looked at behaviors, we looked at needs, okay? But we need to get to this part. Part of your homework was to look at your coping mechanisms, your personal needs, and your personal behaviors. I want to talk about this chart here. If you have not filled this out, I want you to take a moment. I'm going to give you guys just a couple minutes to look at this PowerPoint, okay? And as you look at this PowerPoint, what I want you to do is I want you to let me just mute a couple people. Here we go. What I want you to do is I want you to look at all of the different categories in this chart. Okay? And as you're looking at the different categories in this chart, mark where you think you are. No judgment. Take a minute. I'm going to drink some tea. Don't mark where you want to be. I want you to be honest with where you're at. And you're going to have some in all of them. But be honest with yourself. And if you completed this for homework, then you're a step ahead. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. But I want to give other people who are just joining today for the first time a moment to look at this. Please don't forget to go back and complete the class 1 and class 2. It's really important. These things all build on each other, and it's okay to join class today. You're going to get a lot out of it, but you want to go back and catch up a few things. Okay. Did you find yourself on that chart? I want to talk about what some of these actually mean, okay? Because if you are, most of your things are over in the lower, that'd be left-hand lower quadrant, that is a way that you're kind of internally shut down. Introverts end up here, shy people end up here, those who get dark into their thoughts, a lot of Leos end up here. It's the way it is. Sometimes those cancers end up here. They're so beautiful and nurturing that when they're not nurtured, they shut down. If you're internally shut down, it's not a bad thing. What this whole chart is helping you to understand yourself and understand your behavior. If you ended up over here, you're going to end up being a little externally aggressive. Okay? You need to be in charge. I was very much over there. I was also I was probably halfway between those top two. Okay? I'd stay, very external and tried to be positive, but a lot of that externally aggressive came out. If you're up over here, yeah, you can be externally needy. Oh, I was so bad. Okay, needed attention, needed validation, needed worth from other people, needed people to understand me. Okay, when you get down here in the bottom, okay, on the right, this is internal wisdom. Internal wisdom is just a place of just kind of, you exist. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but there was this really great picture I saw of this older woman dressed kind of crazy. And she was like, yeah, at this age and this wisdom, you want to tell me that, and I don't remember what it was like 2 and 2 is 7. I'm like, you are so right. You don't have to be anything anymore. You just let people be who they are, and you're just in this joy inside of you. You're calm, you're centered. And I cannot tell you, that picture of me 12 years ago, I was so outside of myself, so all over here, so that I didn't have to look inside at who I was. And now I can just kind of be. And whatever hits me, bring it on, life, whatever, right? Your internal needs are always going to play themselves out externally. Okay, they're gonna play themselves out in the form of reactions, and your needs will hurt them. Okay, there's this chart that I found online that's called our innate emotional needs, and it was from a psychology presentation. Yeah, these things right here, they're reality. This is what we deal with. But what happens in psychology is very often they're not looking at, well, it's natural and it's normal. We all have them. So now what do? Because these internal needs, when they play themselves out externally, they're going to affect everyone around you, or they might shut you down, or they might feed your aggression, and they might keep you desperate. You don't need that. So, all right, this whole piece about where you're at, we want to get to the lower right-hand quadrant. That's where we want to get. This means that you want to live your life, all right, as calm, wise, and internal. So here's this girl again. She'll pop up every single class, I'm sure, because I love, she's just got this wise kind of, don't mess with me. So what? I'm human. Okay, I've been human conditioned. I'm needy and I'm a reactionary mess. What? So now what? She's got tude, but she's got wisdom. I love this girl. Here's what I talked about last time. I wanted you to become the observer, but guess what? You are not only going to become the observer, you're going to become the ultimate observer. Observing yourself means that you're going to look at how you feel inside. You are constantly aware of how you're responding to yourself and how you're responding to others. You're going to look at how you respond to everything in life. You're not going to be able not to. You're going to look at what kind of chatter you got going on in your head. You're going to look at what your natural, like reactionary, like I can't help it, this is just how I respond. Okay, you're going to look at what triggers you. You're going to look at everything, guys. But here's the thing. To do this, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be vulnerable with yourself. You have to give yourself a willingness to see what you feel. All right, and you got to stay out of your head. because your head is going to get you to rationalize all your own behavior. It's going to get you to blame someone else. It's going to get you to take something personal. It's going to get you to criticize someone, create stories. Okay, that's not going to help. Look at you. To do this, to become the ultimate observer. So you can look at people who are like in class 2 and go, oh, you were only an observer? Well, I got to learn how to be an ultimate observer. I'm not competing with you, but I'm telling you, ultimate. Here's how you get ultimate. You're going to learn about victimization and projection. Okay, they're huge. Let's talk about being a victim. How many of you, and I'm going to pull my chat up because I want to see this. How many of you have been a victim, have felt an absolute victimization in your lifetime? How many of you? Don't you lie to me. You tell me. Oh yeah, 100%. Me, yes. Yes, me too. Me too, total victim. Oh my God, yes. Okay, that's what we do. We become a victim so that somebody else is the big bad baddie. Ooh, wait till you see what I have coming for you. You're gonna love this stuff. Okay, so I need to get a roll on here. Okay, a victim means you have been harmed by someone else. You were tricked or you were duped. You were a person who became helpless and powerless and passive in the face of misfortune or ill treatment. Yes, when you're a child, yes, you might have been abused. As a child, that's hard to think about, but I'm going to help you to get through a little bit of that. As an adult, that can happen to you too. I'm going to challenge you to believe that there are no true victims. Challenge you to this. You draw in the experiences that you need for your greatest growth, and that's it. You are co-creating this reality before you got here and while you're here. You created this. You're creating it every moment of every day. I want you to think of life like this. This life is a big computer. Remember how in class 1 we saw that whole thing about how you can't change the mathematics of the existence no matter where you are, whether you're on Pluto or whether you're here. You can't change it whether you're a computer or a human. It's the same mathematics. So I want you to imagine that life is a big computer, okay? I want to share with you that there is actually a beautiful explanation. And if you're interested in looking this up, Greg Braden talked about the quantum physics that the scientists have been explaining. And in an interview that he had with Oneness and the Quantum Hologram, you can hear him talk about how science right now has absolutely discovered that yes, we actually live in an experience where it's almost like everything is connected. Everything. And I'm going to weird you out a bit. In my 30s, I started seeing these little silver threads, okay? And they would go from my solar plexus to somebody else's solar plexus, and they go to somebody else's and somebody else's. Your solar plexus just below your rib cage. And they connect, and I'm like, what are these little, they look like little threads. And I'm like, what are these silver threads? What the? And then I remember seeing that they were connected to the trees and the animals. And I will never forget the day that I looked up in the stars and I saw that they were all connected in the same way. And I went, oh my God, everything is connected. I also realized if I could catch one of those threads, I knew everything about a person. I could talk to that animal. I could remote view whatever it was. I was like, okay, what is this? Well, science actually has found out that they actually found out that it is something that exists. They call it the quantum hologram. Okay? It's a grid that is actually there connecting all of us. I want to tell you about this little picture in blue over here on the right. Looks like a little blue mist, okay? So I was back in probably about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I was working with a client in person, and he's sitting in front of me, and we had been channeling his deceased mother. And he said, oh, she had something she needed to tell him. He's like, oh, will you ask my mother, did she bring me my girlfriend Lana? Because that would be just like her to bring me my girlfriend Lana. She was so sweet. And all of a sudden the mother, deceased mother, came through, and she's like, oh, no, we don't do that. And I was gone. Okay, I'm off in the universe, and I don't know, we weren't flying, but we were floating. And in the distance, I'm seeing this blue mist. And it was a little more light blue than what I show here. But it was a really interesting thing about this blue mist is that as I got closer, I realized that there were billions and billions and billions of points of light. I was like, what the heck? And all these points of light were moving perfect synchronicity together. Sometimes they take big leaps, but at every single point of light was responding to each other. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I seeing? This is amazing. And we got closer, and she said, see this little point of light? And I'm like, yeah. And she said, that's you. And I was like, what? That's you. And I went, oh my God. Years ago, my guides had tried to tell me that every decision, Kelly, that you make, every feeling you have, every thought you have in your head, you affect everyone way more than you could ever imagine. And I was like, no, we do. There's something that the scientists have uncovered, which is that entanglement theory I started to mention last time, that connects all of us together. Those little silver threads are connecting us. When you learn your lesson, don't learn your lesson, need a lesson, you're constantly orchestrating everyone on this planet, everyone, to respond to you. My boyfriend Daniel, I had to go to Italy to meet him, but he showed up. Okay? It doesn't matter where on the planet it is, whether it's Germany or Italy or wherever. Okay? You are constantly orchestrating everyone. And what my guides explained is they said the intervening variables are incredible. And that is why when they show me a psychic impression, I get to see how this relates to this. Well, of course it's that way. And you see the truth of it. When people say, I was such a victim to that person who hurt me, all I can think inside is, God, if you only knew that you are the one who created him or her. We program everyone around us how to behave toward us. Play with this. Walk into someplace, strange, a coffee shop. Well, when you can again. Okay, when you can again, walk into a coffee shop and be like, so many people are going to talk to me because I'm really worked on myself and I love who I am right now. And people are going to talk to me. And just go and sit and drink your coffee and wait till you see who talks to you. Then try it again. Walk in, be like, no one's going to talk to me. They think I'm weird. I'm just so, like, nobody likes me. And see what happens. You're programming everyone how to show up for you all the time. Let's take this a step further. Did you know you have 3 brains? Scientifically, you have 3 brains. People think we just have this gray matter up here. No. You have 3 brains. You have what's called a cephalic brain in your head. That's the gray matter stuff, right? Did you know that a brain is defined by the neurons, and every neuron holds a belief, and it connects belief to belief to belief to belief. They grow these little tentacles out of the neuron that connect all these beliefs together so that you create your own unique belief system. So you've got a belief system. You have 100 million neurons in your, that's the wrong number, 100 million neurons in your brain, your head brain. But you have 40,000 neurons in your heart. And you have 500 million in your gut. 500 million. Trust your gut, get out of the head. What happens is this. Science has explained there are more signals going from the head brain and the gut brain to the heart brain than the heart sends out to those two. Why? Because your heartbeat is actually creating a mathematical code going out into the big world computer, programming it how to show up for you. Here's how it shows up. Your heart beats, I hate myself. I still think I can be a victim. Hey, I think that lady was mean and she's a big poopy head. Okay. So you're saying you haven't learned your lesson yet? No. Well, let's just bring you more poopy heads then. Okay. Why do we have cycles and cycles and cycles of repeated patterns or people that show up in our lives? Why did Kelly Schwegel bring in so many people who victimized her? Because she still thought she was a victim. And until I figured out I wasn't a victim, I was creating all that. I was going to keep bringing in victimhood. Manipulative women, emotionally unavailable men. All these things kept coming in and coming in and coming in because I hadn't learned my lesson. So I'm programming the big world computer how to show up for me. That blue mist was showing how we just program everyone. And I'm sorry, I'd like to say that I made that story up about the blue mist for some great effect for our presentation, but I can't. It really happened, and I have to admit it. I went off in the universe, and that's it. Okay, I've got a question. Let's see what that is. I know it's more people saying, oh my God, that's amazing. So Jim says, heart code dictates what attracts to us. Yes, well, he's asking. Yes, yes, yes. I want to show you something. So Kathleen Riley is on this show. She's a beautiful heart math trainer, as am I. And heart math, this is a slide from them, so I have to give them credit, okay? You can actually measure your heart rate. This is mine one day when I was all upset and all stressed and all like, oh my God, everything is really bad and all la 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 la. And I took some time to go, okay, calm yourself down, Kelly, because you're manifesting everything around you. You're programming everybody how to show up. How do you want people to show up for you today? And I did this. Deep breath. Everything's okay. And check this out. After a while, my heartbeat wasn't so that was programming sporadic craziness, and it started to come into rhythm. And what will happen is that the more you come into what they call coherence with your heart, because your heart isn't reacting and responsive and needy and controlling and because you're not doing that anymore. You're going, oh, life's going to keep me in Italy some more. Shit. Okay. Okay, and your heart will stay in coherence. Here's the thing. There are no victims, people. How can you be a victim to what you are creating? And I want you to really feel into this. Everything that comes into your life is coming in for your highest and greatest good. Feel into that. I'm going to share a really hard experience that happened to me, and I can tell you that even through abuse and harm and pain, you are still bringing in what is for your highest and greatest good. And yes, I had a man challenge me on this in a workshop many, many years ago, and he said, you're trying to tell me that a loving God is going to have children suffer? And I said, yeah, I am. Because as a soul, you knew what you were getting into. You knew what you needed for your soul's greatest growth. And that if everything was hunky-dory, sweetie, nicey, nothing would change. Because if everything's going well, you don't change, right? It's got to be going not so well for you to fight through and go, oh, you mean I'm actually worth something? Yeah, you are. Okay? So it doesn't matter what it is, guys. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an affair, whether it's your nasty mother-in-law you brought in, whether you being treated poorly, okay? Whether it is aggressors. Here's the deal. Paulo Coelho said it so beautifully. He said, when you change you, everyone around you changes, people. And here's some Kellyisms, because I don't say it like Paulo Coelho did in The Alchemist. He's very poetic. Mine aren't so poetic. But here's what I said. When the lesson is no longer needed inside of you, people get to show up differently. Learn your lessons about self-love and forgiveness of yourself and others. And you don't have to have the same lessons showing up. Here's one more. I say this. You are programming everyone around you how to behave toward you. So program them differently because you program yourself differently. Yes. Yes, I'm going to say that the bully draws in his victim, just like the victim draws in the bully. The victim needed to learn about empowerment, and the bully probably needed accountability, or he had to behave badly enough times for him to learn his lesson, to start to feel guilty about it and shameful about it so that he'll change it. They drew each other in. The affair? Oh, come now. All three of you brought in that experience. Don't play victim. Don't do that. Don't do it. You all brought that in. And here's why. Do not think that you weren't all learning a lesson. If you say that you are a victim to anything, you might as well take your power and do this. Oh, here's my power. Yeah, I'll put it on a silver platter for you, because you apparently have all the power to say whether I'm happy, whether I'm good enough, whether I'm worthy enough, whether I'm okay. You've got the power. So here's all my power. Just take it. I'm a victim to you. Society, world, Trump, okay? You all have the power. I have no power now, because you have the power to say whether I am good enough, or whether I am happy, or whether I am okay. Where are you going to take your power? Take it back. Take it back, people. You determine your worth. You determine your value. You determine your safety. Safety, everything that comes in is you. Guys, if you want to, I have a 3-part series on my YouTube channel that's called The Mayan Cave, and this is not going to be pleasant to hear. But 2 months before I met Daniel, this was way back almost 2 years ago now, I had been beat up at a Mayan cave in Belmopan, Belize. And I was left in the middle of nowhere in this cave, in the dark, without a purse, without anything, I had a swimsuit on, I had nothing. I'm beat up. I was scared to death. I didn't know anyone. And I thank that abuser to this day. And there's more that happened. If you want to, you can really get into looking at it on the Mayan caves. But I'll tell you that through that experience, I'm so grateful it happened, because it helped me to understand that no one, no matter what they do to me, no matter what they do to my physical body, you will never take my innocence. You will never take my joy. You will never take my power, and I will not be a victim to you. And it made me so much stronger than you could ever imagine. And I would never have found that power inside of myself if it weren't for that awful experience. Did I have to like it? No, I don't have to like it, but I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I take my power back. Now you take yours. Take it back. And I'm going to tell you, there are some ways that we give it away daily. Daily. You guys know about projection? Projection is taking something personal. So very often what happens is that we take something personal and we create a story around it about how awful it was, and somebody did something to me, and then we feel slighted, and we get, we throw hurt and wounding around outside of ourselves, and we make somebody feel bad, and we judge them, and we're upset with them, and or maybe we project inside of ourselves where we feel guilty and shameful and insecurity, and or maybe we feel justified or better than. That's all projection. Our projection of our hurt and wounding onto other people or ourselves. Here's another example. We can become a victim to other people and project our hurt and wounding onto them when we get triggered. Somebody says something and it triggers us, and we're like, man, I don't want to feel these hard emotions. And that's what happens subconsciously. We don't want to feel hard emotions because we got triggered about something. For me, it used to be my intelligence. Oh, I thought I was stupid. And because I couldn't understand what people were saying. And so I was always feeling stupid. And so if anybody criticized my intelligence, I'd trigger, and I'd be like, yeah, well, you're like this. Yeah. Well, at least I'm not like that, am I? Okay, so we'll throw our hurt and wounding onto other people, blaming them, yelling at them, or maybe we avoid people. We're not going to go around them. Or maybe we judge ourselves again. We shut down and feel guilty and shameful and insecure and self-doubt. And here's the deal. Projection that comes from all that victimization and all of our human conditioning, all of that is a defense mechanism. It's a way for us to cope with all of these emotions inside of us. We don't want to look at all this hurt. Okay, what happens is that we end up taking these undesirable feelings inside of us and either blocking it and blaming someone else, or we go into some other way of coping. That's projection. Most projection is subconscious. So to become the ultimate observer, observe where you're a victim. Watch your story in your head. What are you creating? Who are you programming around you to show up? All of this projection that you're doing is, and you can't not, we're human. Okay, until you forgive yourself, you do it. It's all a result of the ego. Looking for love and acceptance and worth and importance and value outside of yourself. Okay? It's a reaction to not loving yourself enough, or a reaction to all the pain you have inside of you. Why do we do this? Because then it helps us feel better about ourselves, right? If we throw something at someone else, we feel superior or in control, or we feel better than, or we can mask our own emotions or never look at them. We don't have to speak our own truth, okay? And here's the thing. I challenge you to look at people like this. Every single human you encounter has emotions, triggers, behaviors, and needs. They have love too, but they're looking for it usually from you. Okay? Acceptance, worth, value, importance from you. So you think when you walk up to them, you're like, oh, I'm going to go interact with that person. No, you're not interacting with them. You're interacting with their emotions, their behaviors, their needs, and their triggers. Yeah. And so they do something to you and you take it personal and you're like, what a jerk. Well, yeah, they probably were, but you're really not interacting with them. It wasn't about you. Something in them triggered. So we always think, oh, here I am interacting with all these people. No. You're interacting with their emotions, their triggers, their needs, and their behaviors until you learn to heal your own emotions and triggers and needs and behaviors. And what happens is you draw into your existence others who have healed theirs. So all you end up interacting with is a bunch of love. Okay, the people you program to show up for you are different. You don't attract the mean boss anymore. You don't attract the mean boyfriend or girlfriend anymore. Your parents treat you differently. Everybody treats you differently because as you change, everyone around you changes. Okay? So here's the thing. I want you to observe in this next week. I want you to observe, are you throwing angry hate bombs at people? Angry hate bombs are insults or criticisms or judgment or blame, or taking your pain and wounding and whipping it at somebody else, telling your partner or somebody else how they feel or how they are, blasting an emotional outburst at people, taking your frustrations out on your partner or everybody around you. Okay, are you doing that? Or here's what else can happen. These angry hate bombs, when people throw them, you have the opportunity to catch them and go, yeah, I'm going to interact with that bomb. I'm going to put it inside me as hurt and wounding. Oh, how could they do that to me? Victim, victim, victim. How can they hurt me like this? Oh my God. But here's the hard one. I'm not good. Why would anyone treat me like that? Apparently, God, here's that old thing. Apparently I'm a jerk. Apparently I'm just not good enough. What is innately wrong with me that people would treat me like this? Why? Putting it inside. Or maybe you're going to catch it and throw one back. Yeah, well, you're like this. Yeah, well, don't think you're so great. Okay. Watch those angry hate bombs. People throw them as forms of victimization or projection or both, because they are hurt or they'd never throw them in the first place. Anyone who is happy inside of themselves, do not throw angry hate bombs. And if you do, don't feel guilty. Welcome to the world. Okay? When somebody throws it at you, don't take it personal. It's not about you. They triggered in some way or they wouldn't be throwing it. Anyone who's happy inside of themselves don't have to throw. Okay? And will you? Yeah, because you're human. But it goes from this much throwing to this much throwing. And you barely ever throw anymore. Okay? You don't catch it and put it inside as I'm the wrong person or bad. Okay? You don't do it. You want to become like the Matrix people. The Matrix, okay, if you haven't watched this movie, then there's something, man, you go watch this movie. Anyway, the Matrix, he dodges the bullets, okay? I want you guys to dodge those angry hate bombs. Kind of go, woof. Yeah, that wasn't mine to catch. I'm not playing with that one. That was all yours. And you don't say that out loud. You keep your mouth a filter, okay? And you let the angry hate bombs go by you. They're not yours to play with. They came from someone else's hate and wounding. They're hurt and wounding. Don't put it inside of you. Don't throw one back. Don't engage. Or you can be like this. Okay, here we go. We're running out of time, but I got to get you to your, I've got to get you to your homework. But, all right, I'm not going to have time to show this. So I'm just going to get in here and make this big again and just tell you about it. This is the Big Lebowski, okay? He's also known as the Dude. Here's one of the Dude's biggest sayings. He's like, and he's a big slob. I absolutely love him. If you haven't watched this movie, it's a cult movie, classic movie. And he's like, yeah, well, that's like your opinion, man. Okay? He's the greatest. Be the dude. When somebody wants to project their angry, hurt and wounding onto you, don't catch it. Just be the dude. Don't say it out loud. That's like your opinion, man. It just pisses people off and triggers them even more. Okay, but get dude inside of yourself, become the Matrix, and then transition into the dude and be like, well, you have a right to your opinion. I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't agree with you, but okay. And then you can go away and you can look inside of you to see, did I hurt? Did I want to trigger back what was going on inside of me? That. Okay, we are getting very close. I've just heard the bells outside, but I'm going to get you to this. Where are we at? Here's where we're at, guys. Here's where we're at. You know you're full of it, okay? You know you're full of hard emotions. You know you're full of reactionary behaviors. You know you're full of personal needs. You know that you found all these ways to cope in life that probably aren't healthy, because that's what humans do. You know not to be a victim at this point. You know not to catch angry hate bombs. You know not to give away your power. You know not to project, but you can't help it. You're human, and you trigger, and you've got reactions, and you just want to protect yourself from getting hurt. Yeah, that's called human conditioning. Okay, now let's bring back this girl. All right, so I'm humanly conditioned. Now what? I love her. I can't just say to you, okay, everybody, just get into love and let it go, okay? Because then I'd feel like I had to be her and put on a silvery blue gown and be like, let it go, let it go. Okay, please, no. That doesn't happen. We work for it. We work for it by becoming the ultimate observer. You initially observed last time. Now you're really going to observe yourself. How much do you project? How much do you whip onto others? How much do you put inside? And I want to remind you before I show you your homework, everyone, guys, everyone is conditioned. There's no guilt, there's no shame, there's no blame. Find some self-love. Yes, you've been hurt, and there's a reason for it. See, the sirens are telling you. I also want to remind you, there are 3 treasures of wisdom, okay? Humility, compassion, all right, and moderation. Humility means this: be humble with yourself, you guys. As you're looking at you, please remind yourself that you are beautiful. Please remind yourself that you're just conditioned. Don't judge yourself. Be in a place of such humbleness with others that you don't need to be right. And remember this quote that I said, I think in the first class. What the heck makes you think you are so special that you don't get to be beautiful love too? Of course you are. Every single human being is a little spark of beautiful divine love. We just came here purposefully to get conditioned to think we're not, and get so wrapped up in everybody else's projection and hurt and wounding that we take it on as our hurt and wounding, not realize that we had the power all along to let it go. So here are the keys to letting it go. I'm going to give you the secrets. You got to understand yourself. You got to go through these first 3 classes. Actually, we've got part 2 to go. Why are you the way that you are? What happened to you in life? Don't avoid it. Look at it. If you don't look at what happened to you in your life, it's a festering wound that's always going to be pussing inside of you. That's gross. Ew. Okay? Forgive yourself. Understand why. Okay? And then we're going to get into the rest of this. Forgiveness, guys. Forgive yourself. Who do you need to forgive? Who? Here's what. To forgive yourself, you need to understand why you did something in the first place. Did something means, why did you become insecure? Why did you become needy? Why did you cope the way you did or do? Why did you act like a jerk? Why did you betray yourself or hurt yourself? Or why did you betray others? Why did you not stand up for yourself? Why did you throw yourself under a bus? Why did you allow that abuse to happen to yourself or to others, even though you really probably didn't? Okay, why did you act like a human? You got to forgive yourself. Forgiveness always comes to yourself first. And here's what's on the Facebook page. You've got some worksheets. They're called the Wonders of Why. Why do I cope this way? In these worksheets, I want you to grab them. There's one for needs and one for behaviors. I want you to grab them. I want you to pick one of your needs and one of your behaviors you know you have, like the need to be right or getting angry or running away, okay? And I want you to feel what you are feeling about yourself in there. I want you to ask yourself, why? Why do I think and feel the way I do? What happened in my childhood or my history that led to me feeling this way? And then reevaluate. Oh, I feel this way because. Now, you can start with this, but I'm going to get you into something different because we're at 5 after already. We're going to come back to this next time, and I want you to think about this. All I want you to think about is you being a victim, or you being conditioned, or somebody projecting at you their own hurt and wounding. And I want you to ask yourself, who do you need to forgive? Who? Who do you need to forgive? And when you ask yourself that, I want you to remind yourself, you chose these parents. Okay? You chose this life. You chose the players in it. You chose your circumstances. These aren't by accident. Okay? And I want you to find some compassion. On the Facebook page, there is an experience or an activity called Finding Forgiveness, I think is what it's called. Something about forgiveness. Letter of forgiveness, that's it. Okay? And I want you to go through the activity of finding forgiveness. You're going to write some letters. All right? And if you want to try the Wonders of Why worksheet, you can do that. Now, if you realize that you have some younger yous inside of you who are really, really, really hurting, like little 6-year-old you is like, she is like dying with pain and emotion, do this meditation. It's to heal your younger selves. We're going to go through this in detail, but if you're stuck, either call me for a session or do this. It's free. Just get onto my YouTube channel. I put it on there, okay? youtube.com/C/Kelly Schwagel, okay? Get in there. Of course, in Germany, it's Kelly Schwagel. All right. So get in there and try it if you need to. Here are some books that can help. I wrote books on this stuff, guys. There are 3 of them, actually 4 books. One you cannot get online. That's the middle one. I have a workbook. If you want it, I'll give it to you for free. Matter of fact, how about I just post it on the Facebook page in the files, yay, so that you can all access it, okay? There's a book, a big book that's called The Art of Inner Alchemy that talks about a lot of what I'm talking about. And there's also an inner alchemy book for teens. Alchemy, guys, means making the impure pure. It's not some witchcraft's weirdness. This is just make it pure. It's a chemical reaction inside of you. All right. So let me get out of this. I'm going to stop the share. Let me answer some questions, and let's get you into a little more healing. How did today go for you guys? Let's see. Zoya says, Kelly, what if we become victims to our own hate bombs at ourselves? Yeah, that applies just like anything else. You need to learn how to forgive yourself. The worksheets online, The Wonders of Why, you can ask yourself all these why questions. Why? Why do I want to judge my body so much? Why do I want to judge me? Why do I want to keep me small? Okay. And if that's the case, you want to just keep keeping yourself small, keep asking why. What in my childhood? What in my experiences in life? What about me yesterday? What would have brought me to this point? And eventually you're going to find it. Trust me. Jim's over there shaking his head. He knows what I'm talking about. All right. We all do. Kathy does. Judy does. All right. We all do. Okay. So here's a private one. Oh, so it's a private, sorry. All right. So Diane says she has to leave. Okay. Let's see. Dylan says, thank you, thank you, thank you. Marcia says, this was clear and wonderful. Thank you so much, Kelly. Kim says, so I have the power to change so that aggressors will change for the better. No, you don't change them. You change you so that they show up differently for you. They'll go be aggressors to someone else until they learn their own lesson. It's just that, are you needing the lesson so you're drawing them to you? Every experience that I've had, I have drawn aggressors or abusers or somebody who was terrible to me because I needed it. I wasn't stuck in Italy by accident. That was on purpose. It was amazing. Horrible, but amazing. Okay. I learned excuse me, I learned and I grew, right? So this isn't by accident. Get in, grab those worksheets, write your letters of forgiveness, and most of all, realize you need to forgive yourself first. Use the Wonders of Why worksheet to work yourself backwards. Why do I have this behavior? Why do I have this need? And then there's a worksheet on there called Finding Your Compassion. After you find out why you have been the way you are, you got to find out your own compassion. Okay, it's 10 after. I kept you way too long. It is 8:10 p.m. here. Kalle Schwegel's going to go have some dinner in Germany with her boyfriend. So I thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you guys for showing up today. All right. Mwah, 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 mwah. Love you all. Thank you guys. Catch you next week, okay? Probably be on Saturday because everybody voted. If you haven't voted, get on the webs or on the Facebook page and vote as to when you want the meetings. Ciao all.